Welcome back guys, this is a second video of Java tutorials, and in this video we are going to learn about variables. So what are variables? Variables are simple placeholders or value containers which contain some values. Like you might have learned in your math class, like when we create some variable like x equals to 71, and so here x is a variable, right? So like this, Java also having some variables which we could create and use them in our program. So there are several types of variable we could use and show them. So first of all, we are going to make a variable of integer type. So how could we create it? By just simply typing int and the name of that variable. So here we are going to name it as number and a semicolon. So here we have created an variable called number, and now what we have to do, we have to just assign a value to it, like nu. So here you could see that we have assigned the value 71 to our integer type variable number, and now we are going to create a second integer called x, and here we are going to assign its value 90. Okay, so here you could see that we have assigned the value to our variable by two methods. First, by assigning the variable and then entering the value to it, and in the second method we have entered the value of the variable in the same line. So now we have to show the value of that variable. So how we are going to show the value of that variable? Like our previous video, we have right here hello world, but now we don't need this quotation marks and hello world. We are simply just going to write number and we are going to run it. So here you could see that 71 we have got the output, and we have not printed this x over here. Now we are going to print it. And in the last video I forgotten you to show the second method of showing the output, that is system dot out dot print. This is the second method of showing the output. Here we are not going to show the full line, so here we're going to write x and run. So you could see that here we have got the value in the second line. But what if I cut it and paste this above this line, and now we are going to run it? So you could see that we have got this value 90, 71. Print line statement just continues the number with the second line, and this print line doesn't continue with the second line. So here you could see that we have got in a single line 90 and 70 both. And now we could also write here system dot out dot print and semicolon. We are going to run it. So you could see here that we have got 90 and 70. Now why we are not getting any space between and 90 and 70 and end? This is because we have to enter a space over here and after and also. So now we run it. So now we have got an output 90 and 70. We're going to create a second variable which is a floating point. So for it we have to simply again write here float and equals to 71.77 semicolon. After that we have to write an F over here. So this is a decimal number we have created over here, or you could say that it is a floating point type variable. So floating type point variables contains a float value or a decimal value, you could say. If we create a double is another data type, and we are going to assign its value 91.8 for example. So here we have created three variables. That first is number, which is an integer type. Second is x, which is also an integer type, and third is float, which is a decimal point or floating point type, and our fourth variable is double, which is decimal point type, or you could say floating point. So only this much for this lecture. We'll soon meet in our next lecture.